case you just join me this time, you program Inside the Newspaper where they come to you live now, Amaze Television on Channel 32. Don't forget to you can catch you in our various social media outlets, Amaze TV SL. Me na Ishmael Gola inside the program today, as I say. I there with Tamba Matia, when an advocate on social justice, youth leader and PR practitioner, we guide me discuss various banner headlines inside the newspaper today. Good afternoon, Tamba, and welcome to Inside the Newspaper.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Okay, we get different banner headlines of different newspapers we can look at today. Of course, members say some of them papers they are coming from different media houses. We they say right, but we say they can discuss into some of them for see how far best to be able, now to the layman out there for they then get a better understanding. But we start with the Concord Times newspaper. We banner headlines say can to protest controversial constitutional amendments. On the other side, we see constitutional amendments and disputes. Religious council raise concern. Now we look at the Concord Times. Now we start with the Concord Times newspaper. Can to protest the controversial constitutional amendments.
Well, basically, when you look at the constitutional amendment issue overall, you see the citizens way for be the greatest people and for take decision on the said constitutional issues done one way or the other it lacks the foundation of consultation. It lacks a foundation where citizens and they get awareness say this XYZ 9 this constitutional amendments they about. But overall when you look at it, you see say we get for a year about constitutional amendment when the two parties then fall apart in parliament, and we get for know about doing through the help of the media. But the politicians or the government going down to the citizens themselves for able for engage them for discuss the issues which surrounding the constitutional amendment was not visible. Young people, for instance, was not visible. But again, it boiled down to waiting with the accept as a nation or the security council, the security body itself, I mean the police, waiting they can approve for confirm as protest and waiting they not can approve. Overall, over years, we don't see how issues of national concern, legitimate issues the way demand for less citizens than common are doing protest. No, because they get political undertones, some of those issues were never approved for let them go out and protest. So for me, it's a good stride owing to the fact say the citizens generally not be aware of some of the things that the constitutional amendment, the focus on, we get fracas when it get for do with the PR and that of the first past the post. Because the two political parties, the winner, the leading political parties, and say this will not be in the interest of me, this will not be in the interest of me. But at the end of the day, what you get for SPCF is how we the citizens, how we the voters them get for benefits out of them two systems them at the end of the day. Because that is what has not been digested to the layman and the community. So I think say now a positive strides for me for let citizens come out and vet their concerns there in a peaceful manner, so that government will be able to listen, say, regardless of this fact, say we don't take XYZ decisions, but let we listen to the citizens and what they get for say. And at the end of the day, if the entire amendment is in the interest of the nation and the interest of the people, I think say the government will listen.
Okay, let's take you away from the constitutional amendments. Let me look at in the area of protest of the citizens. There is law we govern every Sierra Leoneans, including the president. But we don't see so many cases where most times, police have done to some extent say, now the right of Sierra Leoneans if they want for, stage a protest. But let there be, some legality in a sense. Let we get certain people who go come and stand in the interest of the protest. So in case of any, misprotest, then those people will be held accountable in terms of any other thing else. Because at the end of the day, we don't see one or two occasions of late where we don't see mere protests don't they end in a different way. We as a nation, self no go one, they such kinds happen. Coming to the amendments or the constitutional amendments, we talk about the PR and first past the post. We are in we get this disagree. At the end of the day, we forget and agree. The matter has been taken out to the Supreme Court. All eyes is focused now on the outcome or the decisional form, the Supreme Court.
Right.
From your perspective, how you feel, say, or waiting now the expectation of Sierra Leoneans them, or what do they foresee in terms of decision making from the Supreme Court?
Well, basically, let me look at the first area we get for doing the protest and how citizens they can abuse the opportunity or their fundamental right because it's enshrined in the Constitution and that of the 1965.
But if you say the protest, it would be, I mean, solution towards the constitutional amendment?
Well, protest now a urge for the government, a urge to international communities, a urge to opposition that this is our position as citizens. This is our position as human rights advocates or institutions, as in the case of CAN. So basically, it no means say that we the common do for protest. I think say it no means say at the end of the day we get forget XYZ along the line. We get forget fracas. We have one or two instances where mishap don't happen with people in the common for protest where they don't come out.
Over 8 million people of this country.
Yes.
Right? How many Sierra Leoneans where you feel say just for this constitutional amendment will take the streets of Freetown and elsewhere for protest for the same, first past the post or the PR system?
Well, basically, I can be very careful with numbers, but the actual results we want forget them. You go down to Susan's Bay, you go down to Abacha, you go down to Aberdeen, you go down to all of the communities that we say with mama and papa then they live. You go to the provinces, and then you ask citizens, are you really aware of this constitutional amendment? Within this and within this mean to you? Them being consult you, because at the end of the day, it is the people, now their rights, now their position for let them able to know the type of government or the type of voting system or the type of administrative structure where they get at the end of the day. If they're not approve them, if they're not aware of them, if they're not in a position for no say, okay, we are aware of this, consultation on the across all level, at the end of the day, then we can't get a system where they're not even aware of. Then we can't get a position where, before now we get the first past the post, where honorables get to be accountable to their constituency members. But in that situation, you see honorables then they move away from the people. They say, well, this is not our responsibility. This is not our responsibility. You understand? Far from that, moving into other system where we maybe make the people accountable to them political parties instead of the people. So it is the right of the people for let them get a position for no say, okay, this is not the system now we the car adopt. This is not the system we the car adopt. So overall, for know whether Sierra Leoneans are willing to come out and protest, you get for know how they are aware, how far they are consulted at the end of the day. If they are not, I think say it's because we all know we are living in an age where social media don't expose you to a lot of things them which we need for know and which we need for do as citizens them. I think say what enough if enough security is granted for letting them come out and vet out their concerns.
Samba, from your perspective, yes. And though we take now from the border, from the national, point of view. Every Sierra Leonean's concern when it comes to matter of survival or when it comes to matter of representation.
Sure.
Now, we don't see in so many cases, we members of parliament, be it first past the post, be it the PR system, to some extent, there are things that when they do, they reflect on the lives of the ordinary people and we constitute them constituencies they are. Be it first past the post, be it the PR system, but they reflect now. And most times you can say always the main opposition can always they use the people now as a means, say we are doing this for the interest of the people. But yet when they come in governance, it's a U-turn altogether. They reflect. The way don't they use the people and say we are doing this for the interest of the people. But we can see the table it's on. Instead, they focus more on the party rather than the interest of the people.
Yes, so basically that is why Naimika established say quite often now the citizens them position and the responsibility for letting for come out. But again, them protests there, so it depends to the goodwill. Because sometimes we don't see many a times society, the opposition or the government use certain set of people for come out for protest. But if genuinely I am speaking as a citizen of Sierra Leone, genuinely, you see, say these are issues that we concern with bread and butter issue. These are issues that we get for concern with Wuda we get for vote for at the end of the day, for able for chat the leadership of we communities or we constituencies them. Then for able to get a position, get a bite on the decisions the way they take at the end of the day. Regardless, yes, we know say when we vote certain people, going to the president. But like you used for say, Sierra Leone way back in 2000 is not the Sierra Leone today. We are progressively moving from one level to another, no matter how slow it is. That happened as a result of leadership and governance. So if we continue for do so and continue for give the people in the right, give the people and the opportunity and the responsibility for determining who that forbidden leader, I think say then they go aid to governance, and at the end of the day, say for instance, you give me the right for lead you. And I come 1, 2, 3 happen, regardless of the fact that I'm not able to live up to your expectation, but you go there in a position again for change your decision. Should there is any way for able for change in any election for pull me because I not meet up to your expectations. But in a situation where say me not you not determine whether for lead you or not for lead you, it becomes problematic. At the end of the day, if you do something way good, you do something way bad, and not be able for determine whether you for stay there or you know for stay there. So overall, it is the people and it is the will of the people for able for determine whether for lead them.
Okay, so they still discuss on the of accountability, or look at accountability, because either way, the first past the post, the PR system, it has to do with accountability.
Sure.
Whether you party, you party and select you for serve, whether or not the people vote you in, you still get stewardship where you owe to the people. But at the end of the day, we can see the credibility can lose in either way. Most times we can see, despite the people then voting for the members of parliament, in some cases we not even see them around. Where you make mention, say, well, if that happened, the next opportunity will not be given to you in terms of service delivery.
Definitely.
But again, one go on for say, with all this at some point, when we see when the president took over, President Julius Maada Bio say, every members of parliament forgets an office space within a constituency wherein this go show say you people for the meet with
definitely.
The need for the know wait everything they go on within a constituency and all with some of them things there where the president statute or we mandates na the constitution. You feel say we get to go back na the drawing board and re-strategize in the area of them two system there?
Well, basically, when we look at the people the way we don't vote for over the years, it go down to patriotism. Because we are not different from the Americans, from the British, from the Germans, where then they get good leaders over the years and then they do very well for the nations there. Patriotism is the problem. Because at the end of the day, when you come in, many a times what we don't see in Sierra Leone, people, the politicians, they only come to the people when they want power. And when they get the power, all what they do towards the tenure is to protect the power instead of doing the work where the power demand them for do. So that becomes problematic. I will follow up in news in France. A general miss, they go meet people in Tinapna line and then they want for go vote. They go miss the line, they go before for go vote. When the citizens in France, he resigned from his position and he apologized. So that also tells you how aware and how informed the citizens them they, which is why me in a democratic atmosphere like this, I not discourage anything of that nature for let citizens voice out their concerns them. You understand? Because at the end of the day, it gets to a point to say the politicians and they say the people are tired. They know exactly what they want. They know exactly what they voted us for. If we don't do what they voted us for, then get for frown, then get for voice out. But when we become gullible, when we become delusional about we leaders them say, okay, because of this person, because of this XYZ, I want to forget this XYZ, and not go voice out me issues that may become problematic. So at the end of the day, accountability not go be visible. So people instead of projecting the challenges the way the community they face, the challenges the way the constituency they face, or where the nation they face, then go prefer for project their own individualistic challenges them, individualistic concerns there. So that is where the whole line of patriotism is. When you look at the nation, you look at your community, you look at the people the way they vote in, and the responsibility the way they actually need for do. You get for now no say I know all personal allegiance to these people, but they're all allegiance to the nation, to the constituency, and the people that we then vote them.
Okay, as they move away, we look at the other newspaper inside the program, we at the Independent Observer newspaper, we ban a headline say constitutional amendment or constitutional engineering with a question mark, and on the other side we say we see what does 2/3 of the members of parliament means. Mattia, let me look at these two. One, now I will say, okay, also a question. The constitutional amendment or the constitutional engineering, and what does the 2/3 of the members of parliament means? So let we look at this, the interpretation, of course, within the constitution. To me, I can see and say, I can get this whole saga, because most or many times we don't see how Mr. A interprets. Maybe it could be different from Mr. B. How Mr. C interprets, it could be different from Mr. X. With all them things there, Mr. A will interpret them in favor of, how the A in structure look
Definitely.
like. Likewise, Mr. B self go, interpret them to the structure of B. So with all them things there, let we start with the constitutional amendment or the constitutional engineering from that two perspectives.
Well, basically, Aki always tell people and say, we get two interpretations of a constitution. One, they get a real interpretation and they get a political interpretation. So, for instance, the real interpretations say John is a boy. But when it comes to the political interpretation of that John is a boy, are they in a position for interpreter? But I get for interpreter in the line of within the political party want at that moment.
Okay.
So instead of John is a boy, we say we use boy in the context as an ironical statement.
Okay.
It can be man or it can be woman, but we use them as an ironical statement or opposite of what we actually mean. So it depends on, at the end of the day, what in 2/3 majority actually mean.
Okay.
We want to say we vote members of parliament. Some of these people are lawyers. Some of these people are experts in their field. They're not able for sit down and actually interpret within a 2/3 majority and within the constitution actually mean by 2/3 majority. That is how this disingenuity they come into we political landscape. Because at the end of the day, this man knows say this 9/2 majority mean. But because this is not the disposition of my political party, I know this I mean. Say for instance, we get over 100, we get over 80 members of parliament when are from the government. We get over 50 or so when are opposition. No one per them people and they come out say, okay, regardless of the fact they mean our opposition, but this 9/2 majority mean. No one from the government side come out say this 9/2 majority mean individually. But they take holistic decisions for say this 9/2 majority mean based on the political party in stand. So you understand at the end of the day is political interpretation rather than interpretation of the real constitution itself. But again, the issue of course don't go to Supreme Court. We look forward to say the judiciary itself go man up enough for able for giving the real interpretation as we the citizens then demand for waiting actually the 2/3 majorities. Because if you go to the media, the public domain now, the other day I had follow up now Truth Media and even here, when I don't get several lawyers them and seasoned politicians them. In fact, some of these people were the architectures or the very constitutions. They're not getting opinions, they're not getting views about what 2/3 majority mean. And that's not they actually bring the solutions to the problem. At the end of the day, every politician, every individual get for interpreter based on within a political party it stands on the very issue. But again, we have an independent judiciary. We are assuming it to be so because over the years we don't see issues them like we do not take decisions based on within the government say and based on within the law say, which is more appealing to the citizens them. But we look forward again to the actual interpretation of within the 2/3 majority means in that line. Because we know one day see we say MPs in the communal parliament because of the living condition of me and you, because of the promises the way they don't give we, they say they don't meet up to these promises, because of the development funds the way government they allocate to constituencies over the years or based on the time frame, they not come on a parliament say, okay, because government not give down our communities or our constituencies are deplorable with a protest. But then they come out of parliament based on political issues, based on waiting get for votes them in at the end of the day, or waiting make them get for continue for day now the political limelight. So we look forward to a day who say Sierra Leoneans them and the lawyers them, the members of parliament, the judiciary and other arms of government go able to interpret the constitution based on waiting it actually mean instead of political interpretation.
So we still continue the amendments, and of course we don't deny a stage where in all eyes, I would say every Sierra Leone now focus waiting will be the outcome, because the speaker had already channeled this matter to the Supreme Court, where the main opposition have to accept, and the stage where they now everybody they look up to the outcome. Now we get to do it decision making from the Supreme Court. But again, one go on for ask questions, say, you know, the chief judge now somebody we appoint or being appointed by the president. So this controversy gets for come up, say waiting will be the expectation. You know, expect, you know, Mr. A for appoint Mr. B, say serve in this capacity. The way Mr. A get problem, Mr. B no able come for can defend Mr. A. With all them things there, we all eyes set for the waiting will be the outcome of the constitutional amendment from the High Court.
Well, basically, that's not the biggest problem, because there is an adage we say, he who feeds you guides your conviction.
Sure.
Anybody really put bread on the table, regardless of what he get for, more so when a political appointment in this, the Chief Justice and other legal practitioners within the upper echelon, political appointments. At the end of the day, get for determine now how then would deviate from, regardless of being appointed by politicians and answerable to the wills of those who appointed them, to the actual call or the actual service way not to the nation. Again, it come back to patriotism. If you get for label for draw, many a times I see with leaders them that they get problem with integrity, because at the end of the day, we then get for say but you, regardless of how short you serve in this XYZ position, but what you go do way right for your conscience when you may have left the position, and what you go do way right for the citizens.
Yesterday,
and that is
yesterday, one of Ubana headlines inside the discussion, there was an open letter written to the Speaker of Parliament.
Yes.
We, just like as you deny it, the letter was open. Mr. Speaker, today you have the opportunity to be the Speaker. But realize, say, after some point, you're not
for daily, definitely.
Even though refer to the president, wherein himself at some point, you get for be within a mere citizen, just like an ordinary citizen, to some extent. But again, they try for a put emphasis in the area of integrity. Most times, or many times, we politicians can absolutely wave off when it comes to integrity. Initially, like maybe a year or few months from now, we'll get them back in a different locality or different communities. They go for talk to people and say, when I vote you in, when I come, I go do this, and this, with a lot of promises. At the end of the day, after election, maybe 2 months after, we get for see everybody don't take in different position. Yeah. Then the people continue with the suffering. With the same integrity, do you feel that as a nation, despite we MPs that all we accountable or we owe them accountable, how we get to justify this and waiting for the mere action?
Well, basically, we see the issue of Palo Conte then, where a go now a state house, then go a good speech to or whatsoever, where the then Attorney General and Minister of Justice now put the right charges. At the end of the day, get for lead to a dismissal. So as sensitive, as minimal as that was then, compared to this very sensitive political issue, we don't lead to the opposition leaving Parliament, and the government of the government and the Speaker take a position, say we don't pass a verdict depending on the decision or the approval of the Supreme Court or whatsoever. It get for now determine how actually at the end of the day the climax of the issue. It is very sensitive, it is very political, it is very it's a determiner of how we next government structure get for day. And the government of the day has been very vocal about this. Let we share the power. Let we share the power. Let we share the power. So the power sharing is coming more vivid now in this PR system. So we want to see whether the current CJ will able to take a decision wey go be in the interest of the nation or go be in the interest of the political party. We no go speculate, but over the years we don see some of these political issues dem and political interpretations dem how they end. Either you take a decision wey dey in the interest of the nation and then you lost your job, or you take a decision wey dey in the interest of a political party, you maintain a job whilst prosperity go end up for judge you. But it depends on either case. So we dey look forward, and it is too early to speculate as to wetin the decision of the Supreme Court get for be. But we dey look forward as a nation for actually interpret the constitution as how it dey and not how politicians dey actually want to interpret.
According to Tamba Matsia, we are an advocate on social justice, youth leader, and PR practitioner. Well, we dey hope for see wetin get for be the final decision from the Supreme Court and the verdict we possibly the Chief Justice we get for do with the constitutional amendment. We'll go for a short break. When we come back, we can discuss other newspapers that we make banner headlines inside the program.